again, people! I just finished reading the bird hunting story, my first work of flash fiction. I should come up with a name for these types of videos. What should this segment be called? Reading aloud short stories that I wrote in my youth that are decent to terrible. I don't know, nothing's coming to mind. In any event, we're gonna read The Square Room and Going Bonkers, because I remember one of them, but I don't know which one, and I remember nothing about the other one. And then we're gonna read Henry Thomas Murphy. Those three, in that order. You're only gonna hear one in this video, because I'm gonna put the others in the other videos like I did last time, and they're gonna go out in the future, and... Alright, The Square Room, short story 4. The numbering thing that like I do for my vlogs, I did that with my short stories too. This is short story 4. She walked into the house, but nothing was the same. Even the furniture was different. Oh, that's highlighted. I remember what this prompt was. This prompt had the sentence, she walked into the house, but nothing was the same. Even the furniture was different. And I was given that prompt and told, write a short story from it. This was the creative writing class I mentioned last time. By the way, if you haven't seen that video, you can go check it out right here. First short story I ever wrote. Anyways, this is the short story I came up with based on this sentence. She walked into the house, but nothing was the same. Even the furniture was different. Doesn't make any sense, she proclaimed, as she slammed the door shut. Then she again opened it to find yet another completely different room. She closed and opened the door a third time, and then a fourth, then a fifth. She did this in rapid succession, and every time it was a completely different room. There was always a clock, but it was never the same time. The layout was always the same square, but never the same color. She could even see a variety of different places out the window, ranging from a brick wall to an ocean scene. Ocean scene. Rubber baby buggy bumper. Should start a channel, aggressive tongue twisters. This can't be real, she exclaimed. This just can't be real. She closed the door one more time in a desperate attempt to prove her sanity, but to no avail. For when she opened the door for the 10th time, it had once again changed. The time was now 8 o'clock, yet outside was a beautiful sunny day in a park. On the now blue and tan walls hung several large framed portraits of various unknown faces, and on the side wall there was a fireplace with a crackling fire burning bright. She took her first step into the perplexing room. The color of the floor seemed to change ever so slightly with every step she took. She turned towards the fireplace, but the fire was no longer blazing. She turned towards the portraits, but they were all now landscapes. This can't be happening, she gasped. Outside it was now dark, but when she blinked it became a patio. A patio? She gasped and started to feel a bit woozy. I need to sit down, she said airily. She moved to the couch and reached down to test it. It was firm, and she could feel the cushion's resistance against her hand. With a sigh, she plopped down onto it, but it gave. Suddenly she was falling. She didn't know how, but she now found herself plummeting through the sky towards the earth, miles below. She passed several birds that appeared to be flying upside down, and the clouds were speeding past as they started to pick up speed. As she neared the ground, she tried to think of how she had gotten here. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't remember anything about what had happened that day, not even why she had taken interest in that door. Just as thoughts seemed to come into focus, so did the ground as it came up to meet her. She instinctively closed her eyes tight, then opened them to see a meadow, then realized she was sitting safely under a tree. Oh, she cried. How? Why? She could no longer think straight, nor did she know what to do, so she ran. As she ran, things around her changed as fast as she could blink. She couldn't tell what was real or not. Everywhere she turned was different. Now her vision was beginning to fail, or so it seemed. The colors around her were now bright and confusing. She tumbled onto the floor, beginning to feel dizzy, then struggled to her feet, which now felt like iron boots. Turning this way and that, she stumbled forward, swaying like a leaf, barely able to stay up. But no, Kuent wen tu stnd, she mumbled, with slurred speech. Nice try, Sam. Her ears rang and her head ached, and she spun around completely disoriented. She couldn't take it anymore, and as her eyes grew dim, she fell again. Then, nothing. 5 minutes later, she was hauled out on a stretcher by 4 men, hauled out of a padded square room. Wow, what an eccentric twist ending that was. She was insane all along. I can't believe I killed her, though. Yikes. Okay. So that was interesting. Interesting direction to take the beginning of that sentence. Anyways, thank you so much for reading with me. Feel free to subscribe for weekly vlogs and the occasional video where I read aloud one of my old short stories from when I was a child. Speaking of which, that other one I mentioned, still up there, and I will read you... I will read with you at a future time undisclosed... No, that's not what I said. I will read with you at some point in the... at some undisclosed time of the future... I will read with you at some... I got it. And I will read with you at some future and I will read with you at some undisclosed future date.